Hello, future finance experts. Kumusta kayo? I hope you are relaxed and you have peace at the moment. Kasi if not, I think probably you should reschedule watching this video because mas okay kung tayo ay mag-aaral ng sabay-sabay na komportable, walang abala at very relaxed. Okay, but if you are in a good state of mind at the moment, please join me as we discuss another topic which covers equity securities market and of course the Philippine Stock Exchange as you can see on the screen right now. So, actually, siguro if we are in a better condition, probably you would be visiting the PSE in Taguig, no? Field trip. But since we're not blessed with good circumstances at the moment, siguro we could only imagine it right now until such time na maging okay yan ng lahat. And probably we could visit the Philippine Stock Exchange as the other batches of financial management students were privileged to do so. Anyway, so for the outline of our discussion, let me just first read this to you. No, the first component of this lecture would be including the history of the PSE, and we are going to, just briefly discuss the list of the publicly listed companies here in the Philippines. And then we are going to talk about classification of stocks according to their rights, ownership, sector, and characteristics. And then the third one would be the PSEI, or what we call the Composite Index, and other global stock market indices as well. And the last would be, I think you would be very interested in the last subtopic, which is investing and trading in the Philippine stock market, which is somehow an introduction, kasi hindi naman natin pwedeng i-cover lahat in this lecture, but at least somehow you could have an idea on how to start or how to begin investing in the Philippine stock market. So let's begin. Okay, so I will be showing you some of just tidbits of history of our stock exchange. Actually, ang PSE ang pinaka matanda, one of the oldest stock exchanges in Southeast Asia, which was founded by 5 American businessmen in 1927. Yes, ganun na po katanda ang ating stock exchange, remember, during the Commonwealth period, we were colonized by the Americans. Thus, our central bank was also founded, and kumbaga somehow it was established through the help of the American Commonwealth. And so, because of that, sumunod yung ating stock exchange. But our first stock exchange was named Manila Stock Exchange in Binondo. So, yun ang unang headquarters ng ating pamilihan ng sapi, no? Kasi ang Tagalog ng stocks ay sapi. Hindi po sinapian, kundi pagsapi, ibig sabihin pag-join. Okay? So, it was first located in Binondo, and then we had a second stock exchange. Hindi po sila, hindi po magkahiwalay. Hindi po magkasama, kundi magkahiwalay talaga na stock exchange. And it was named the Makati Stock Exchange, which was located in Ayala Avenue in Makati. And what you're seeing right now here is the old PSE building in Ortigas. I think during my undergrad times, I was able to visit this branch of PSE, located in Pasig. So, moving on, like I said kanina, ang unang na-establish noong 1927 was the Manila Stock Exchange, which was founded by W. Eric Little, Gordon W. McKay, John J. Russell, Frank W. Wakefield, and W.P.G. Elliott. So, yan ang mga 5 magkakatropa na naisipang magbukas ng una o kauna-unahang stock exchange sa Pilipinas noong 1927. So, the first office was located in the Insular Life Building on Plaza Cervantes, Binondo, and transferred to Pasig in 1992. So anyway, this building is still existing, although hindi na siya ganon dinevelop. It's still as it is. If you want to visit Binondo in the future, you could spot the first building of our stock exchange. Ayan. And then, in 1963, nag-organize ng sariling stock exchange itong mga Pilipino naman, 5 businessmen, namely si Hermenegildo B. Reyes, Bernard Gaberman, Eduardo Ortigas, Aristeo Lat, and Miguel Campos. Okay, you can just imagine the chaos probably. If you have 2 markets, kung meron kang 2 palengke, they sell the same goods, they sell the same stocks, but they have different prices. That was the problem back then. Dahil hindi pa nga unified yung ating stock market, they sell the same stocks with different prices. And so, in 1992, during the time of former President Fidel Ramos, he had this vision to unify the 2 existing exchanges in the Philippines. And so, the idea was, ang purpose niya is to fully develop our capital market. Okay? And isa na doon is yung pag-unify hindi lamang yung pricing, kundi I think it's more on you cannot fully develop a capital market in the Philippines if there is somehow siguro nagkakaroon ng siraan, no? Instead of lifting the capital market as a country, nagkakaroon ng division. And so that was the vision of the former President Fidel Ramos. And so in December 23, 1992, the PSE was finally incorporated. Thus, yung kanilang logistics and everything else, yung leadership, kumbaga best of the best na yung nasa iisang bubong. That was the idea. And so, it happened during the time of former President Fidel Ramos. And now, in terms of innovation, let me just give you a timeline of what happened in terms of the innovation. Kasi before we started with yung, kung nakita niyo yung picture kanina, no, they were just using blackboards to list kung sino ba yung mga companies na gustong mag-participate sa stock market. And then those traders who are brokers and traders who were kumbaga joining the day-to-day activity in the market, all were written manually in books and as you can see, no, sa blackboard. So in 1993, after finally the PSE was unified and was incorporated, nagkaroon na ng computerization. Okay, and it was called the Stratus Trading System. That was in January 4, 1993. No, yan ang unang-unang ginawa when finally unified na yung ating stock exchange. And in 1995, nagkaroon na ng single order book system using unified trading system. And please take note, no, 1995 wala pang masyadong gumagamit ng internet dito. But nonetheless, at least during that time, although medyo late na rin ng Pilipinas nun when it comes to innovation, they were able to join the flow, no? Kung titignan kasi natin, we are one of the oldest stock exchanges in Southeast Asia, But in terms of innovation talaga, it was only in the 90s when the stock exchange started revolutionizing the operations of the stock exchange. And ang layo na, no, after 10 years, in 2005, the Philippines adopted, or the PSE adopted an online daily disclosure system, or the Odyssey, to improve the transparency of listed companies and ensure full, fair, timely, and accurate disclosure of material information from all listed companies. And so, it's so important to have this kind of disclosure system. It's because kung mapapansin nyo sa mga cable news channel, lalo na in the morning, makikita nyo talaga naka-flash yung stock prices sa ilalim nung TV screen. It's because if you are an investor, you are so guarded with your investments. You are so eager to watch the performance of the firms where you have entrusted your money, if they're doing well, the economy is doing well, and it's the job of our stock exchange to make sure that there is full disclosure when it comes to the information of these publicly listed firms. And in 2010, nilaunch yung bagong trading system which replaced the MAC trade system, no? Which is called the PSE trade. So the PSE trade is a system or a technology which was acquired from the New York Stock Exchange. And we know how, kumbaga, for us to level up our trading game, we have to step up and kumbaga yung gauge natin, yung standard natin talagang in a global setting na, no? New York Stock Exchange. And in 2015, this one is the latest trading system, which is the PSE Trade XTS, which replaced the PSE Trade, and this time it was acquired from Nasdaq. And we know pagka Nasdaq yan, it's more on technology stocks kasi, so mas high-tech as compared to the NYSE PSE Trade. Alright, so in 2009, although this is not a system, the PSE has introduced a new index, okay? Because we know that we have sector index and then we have the composite index. This time, they introduced a new index which they call the Total Return Index as part of the efforts to create a broader investor base for the market. Anyway, mas pag-uusapan natin yung composite index in a separate discussion. So, dun yung mas maiintindihan bakit kailangan ba natin i-monitor yung mga index na yan. Alright, moving on. So, as you can see, this is the new trading floor of our stock exchange. Before, ang latest, I think, we have two kasi, no? The one in Ortigas and the one in Ayala. And so, since they have decided to finally unify the trading floor, nilipat na siya sa BGC, sa Bonifacio Global City in Taguig. And this is how beautiful our stock exchange looks at the moment, no? Napakaganda, very para kang para kang nasa NASA, yung space station ng US. So ganyan siya ka ano ba tawag dito? Talagang napakaganda, pinaganda, very minimalist, and I like it how clean looking it is. So sana makarating tayo before kayo gumraduate. Sana I'm crossing my fingers na umokay na ang ating sitwasyon. So moving on, like I said kanina, the unified trading floor is now located in the PSE Tower. Right, located in 1 Bonifacio High Street in Bonifacio Global City. So yun nga, like I said, it replaced the 2 trading floor in Metro Manila, including one in Ayala and one in Pasig. Okay, in terms of number of listings as of 2021, now that we are speaking, yes, so far we have 336 publicly listed companies in our exchange. And in terms of market capitalization, actually, prior to the pandemic in 2020, we're speaking of a January 2020 data right right now, no, it recorded a 13.95 trillion pesos in terms of value, meaning our capital market was able to raise this amount. Just imagine, 13.95 trillion. And that's already what? Kumbaga, in terms of GDP ng Pilipinas, no? Yeah, yun yung nako-contribute niya in terms of investment. Okay? So, napakalaki ng role na ginagampanan talaga ng ating stock exchange or in general, ng ating capital market, ng ating equities market to be more specific. That alone raises a lot of capitalization to keep our economy going. Okay? Okay, siguro before we proceed with our classification of stocks, let me just give you an idea of the timeline of our Philippine Composite Index. When in 1994, September 30, 1994, our composite index recorded a value or a base value of 2,922.21. So, kanina ko pa mini-mention yung composite index. No? So, ano ba to? So, generally, it's a statistics. It's a movement of our market. So, every time na tumataas yung market capitalization value, since our composite index is measured in terms of market capitalization, every time nagkakaroon ng movement yung ating stock exchange, okay, it is measured by points. Right? So, habang dumadami yung nag-i-invest sa ating exchange, habang lumalaki yung volume na tinitrade, nag-i-increase din yung ating composite index. So, sa madaling salita, the composite index is a gauge. It's a barometer. It's a measurement of the movement of our stock exchange. Now, in 2012, napakalayo, no? 1994 now going fast forward to 2012, the PSE composite hits 5,000 mark. Okay, so from 1994, almost 3,000, it was in 2012 nung naging 5,000. So you can just imagine kung gaano kabilis yung development ng economy once our composite index reaches kumbaga yung mga nagkakaroon siya ng mga ceiling records or mga high records. It means more money for the economy, more money for the capital market, more money for businesses to improve their operations. So, it's a domino effect. Okay? Pero it took a lot of time. 1994, 2012, 5,000 mark. So, ibig sabihin, umuusbong pa lang yung confidence ng mga tao sa ating equities market. And then in 2013, napakabilis lang. If you can see the difference, to 1994, 2012, now 2013, it only took 1 year for the PSE composite to record the 6,000 mark. Okay? And then in 2015, wow, that was very quick, no? 2013 to 2015, it was like we were increasing nag-i-increase tayo ng 1,000 in terms of increments per year. And so, that's a good sign. It's a good sign that the investor confidence is there. This was also the time na yung Moody's and Poor was able to accredit our government with BB credit rating, no? Later on, we will be talking about those credit rating definitions, ano bang ibig sabihin nun. And so, it was such a good improvement in our economy because our PSEI was consistently recording its highest points in a day. Or, kung titignan nyo, 8,053. 2013, it was 6,000. Napakahusay. And then, noong 2018, this was such breakthrough performance talaga ng ating stock exchange. No wonder we were called as the rising tiger in Asia because of yung fast pace na pagbulusok ng ating stock exchange, it recorded its first 9,000 mark nung January 26, 2018. And unfortunately, no, hindi na nasundan itong 9,000 mark. Although if siguro hindi nagkaroon ng pandemic, we could have probably surpassed that 9,000 mark by this year. So, we cannot foresee this events from happening, but isa tayo sa pinaka talagang tinamaan nung nangyari tong pandemic. Talagang bumaba, balik 5,000 ang ating composite index, ano? Well, anyway, so that was somehow the timeline of the performance of our stock exchange. Now, moving on, let's discuss what the classification of stocks are all about. But before that, let's first define again. Let's review what stocks are all about. So by definition, when we say stocks, no, it's just simply means ownership. Okay, stocks or shares, shares or stocks. Yan yung madalas na term na every time we talk about stocks or shares, it simply means ownership. Okay, so you become a part owner of that company, and so you are entitled to receive or participate in the company's growth and future profits. And also at the same time, whenever the firm is experiencing losses, you are also experiencing losses. So one way, or kumbaga vice versa, no, if you can enjoy the profits, you would also participate in the losses. And as I have mentioned a while ago, ang Tagalog ng stock ay sapi, or ikaw ay makikipag-partake, or ikaw ay makiki-join or makikisapi. Alright. And so, let us now go to classification of stocks according to the different factors in terms of rights, ownership, sector, and characteristics. So, meron tayong 4 na pag-uusapan sa susunod na mga slides. So, pag-usapan natin yung rights, or in Tagalog is karapatan. Karapatan. Okay. So, according to rights, we have first the common stocks. I think I have already mentioned this in our previous videos, but let's just shift our perspective in a way that you would understand that when we classify stocks or shares, there is what we call classification according to their rights or karapatan. Okay? Pag ikaw ay isang common stockholder, no, meron kang karapatan. Karapatang ano? You have the ability to exercise control in the firm through voting rights during annual or special stockholders meetings. And madalas, when we say voting rights, you have the right to elect board of directors and board of directors and other decision-making policies if there are in the firm during stockholders meetings. Gaano ba ka-importante yun? It's like voting during a national election. It's so important that you select the best people in your team, because the performance, the direction of the firm will be set by these people. And so, having a right to that decision already makes you, very, very much entitled. Ibig sabihin talagang you're part of the team. You're part of the firm. So, as mentioned here in the slide, most of the issues that are traded in the local stock market are common stocks. So, automatic, whenever you see the list of companies traded in the stock exchange, except, of course, if it's clearly stated that it's not a common stock, na mamaya pag-uusapan natin, yung preferred stock. So, therefore, you would assume na common stock lahat ng mga nasa listahan. Okay? So, again, common stocks allow the investors to participate not only through control but also in the management of the company. Okay? The next one is the preferred stock, from the root word prefer. The reason kung bakit preferred stock siya as compared to common stock, it's because of the risk that is entailed. So basically, common stock are riskier as compared to preferred stock. Why? Because in terms of bankruptcy, it is always the preferred stock which will be given higher priority as compared to the common stock. Okay? Kaya yun yung sinasabi niya, higher claim on the assets and earnings of the company. So, hindi lang sa liquidation, in terms of dividend payment, so by now, you understand what dividends are, no? Ito yung earnings na sinasabi natin, you are partaking with the earnings of the firm through dividends. So same lang, preferred stockholders and common stockholders are entitled to receive dividends. But just like bondholders, preferred stockholders receive dividends in a regular predetermined basis. But unlike common shareholders, no, hindi hindi given or hindi outright na kailangan makaka-receive sila ng dividends regularly. So, it depends on the management if this year mag-i-issue ba tayo ng dividends or not. And that's okay. Okay? It's up to the management if the common shareholders will receive dividends regularly. But with preferred stockholders, they will always have the highest priority in terms of dividend payment. Okay? And, of course, the preferred stockholders don't have voting rights. Okay? So, para silang parang safer choice kung ang pagpipilian mo ay common over preferred stocks. Okay? So, that is our first classification according to rights, karapatan. So, common stock with voting rights, preferred stock, no voting rights. Okay. And also, they have a specified limited rate of return or dividend and a specified limited redemption and liquidation price. Okay. Now, we go to ownership. Yan, pagmamay-ari sa Tagalog. Okay, we have two classification according to ownership. That's Class A and Class B. Class A simply means these are the exclusive stocks which can be traded by Filipinos. Ibig sabihin, mga Pilipino lang ang pwedeng bumili. While Class B stocks are both bought and sold by Filipino and foreign investors. Okay? So, yun lamang ang kailangan yung tandaan. Whenever you hear the term Class A stock, Class B stock, it's pertaining to ownership. Next, ito yung medyo mahaba-habang pag-uusapan natin. Sector. Types of stocks according to sector. Well, according to the Philippine Stock Exchange website, these are the different sectors. Kumbaga, ito yung classification ng sectors according to the website of PSE. So, dati 6 lang, ngayon nadagdagan na. The first one is, ayan, the services sector. Actually, kung titignan natin dito sa services, siya ang may pinakamaraming subsector, which includes media, transportation, hotel and leisure, retail, education, casinos and gaming, IT or information technology, telecommunications, and other services. Okay, so meaning, yung mga firms that would fall under the operations of the list that was mentioned, so, dyan sila kinakategorize. Okay. And then the second one is the mining and oil sector. So, dalawa lang yan. It's either mining or oil. And then we have the SMEs or yung mga emerging markets natin. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga kaklasify nating mga babies pa sa stock exchange. But they are already listed. Kumbaga, nagsisimula pa lang, pausbong. And ito yung mga tipo na inaabangan in the next 5 years kung mag-grow ba sila into a bigger firm. And then we have the holding firms. Hindi ko na nilagay dito yung definition, ano, but to make it short, holding firms do not produce or sell anything. So unlike services, they render service in terms of property or industrials, financials, they offer products and services. But for holding firms, they are called the mother company. Okay? Wala po silang ibang ino-operate, kundi ang bumili ng shares sa iba't ibang companies. Okay? So, ang tanging purpose lang nila ay bumili ng shares sa mga iba't ibang kumpanya. They have the purpose of owning control and ownership sa ibang firms. Okay? That's why they are called holding firms. They hold control to other companies. And then we have the property sector. So, nandito yung mga real estate developers natin. And then we have the financial sectors. Nandito yung mga banks natin and other financial institutions like insurance companies. And then we have the industrials. So, sa madaling salita, pag sinabi nating industrials, ito yung ating manufacturing arm in the Philippines. Okay? They are the ones manufacturing or producing electricity and energy, food, beverage, and tobacco, construction and infrastructure, chemicals, electrical components, and other industrials. And finally, ito yung pinakabago, no? The ETF equity. So when we say ETF, this is a kind of a pooled investment. So the reason ko bakit siya nasa PSE is because you are buying a basket of shares already available in the market. And so you're like purchasing mutual funds in a stock exchange. Okay? So you're buying the entire thing in the stock exchange. So that's why it's called ETF equity. So mamaya makikita natin meron tayong mga list. I'm gonna show it to you later so that we can browse them. Kahit hindi naman natin basahin lahat, let's just browse a few of these firms if you are familiar with them. Let's start with services. Okay, next slide. Ay, okay. So, una pala yung banks kasi according to, ano pala siya, alphabetically arranged. Alright. So, with banks, I'm sure you guys are very much familiar with these banks, which you can see in front of you. Ito yung mga madalas nating nakikita sa Eftañedo. Saan ba? Usually sa mga financial or commercial district ng mga towns, meron at merong banks talaga. But anyway, if you're planning to work in these banks in the future, at least you know that they are listed in the Philippine Stock Exchange, meaning you can buy their shares. Kung ganun kayo ka-loyal dun sa future or dream job ninyo na mag-work sa bank. So, we have AUB, BDO, BPI, China Bank, City State Savings. I think these are all visible here in Tarlac City naman. Meron naman lahat. East West Bank, we have Metro Bank, PBB or the Philippine Business Bank, PBC, PNB, Philippine Savings Bank, PTC or the Philippine Trust Bank, RCBC, Security Bank, and Union Bank of the Philippines. Okay, I think these are all familiar with you guys kasi pag hindi, I think you should shift sa ibang course. Kasi ito yung course nyo finance, So you should be familiar with all of these listed banks here. So they're not just banks, they are also listed companies in the stock exchange. And then we have gaming and casino, I'm not sure if there is a familiar name. Siguro itong saan ba to? Resorts World, Leisure and Resorts World Corporation. Ayan. So probably yan. Pa-familiar kayo dyan. But ako, hindi rin ako masyadong familiar with them kasi I am not fond of gaming and gambling. So pass tayo dyan. Chemical and industrial. So, under ito sa industrial. But, it is kumbaga mas naka-segregate na siya in terms of subsector. Okay? So, these are all manufacturers of chemicals. Right? So, we have Euromed. I'm sure you're very much familiar with that. Ano pa ba? Not so much, ano? We have very limited chemical manufacturing firms here in the Philippines. So, hindi lang, ito naman kahit na anong chemical, yung mga gumagawa ng fire extinguisher. In fact, meron nga Panasonic dito, no? Panasonic Manufacturing Philippines. Ito kasi gumagawa ng gamot ito. So, anything that is related to chemical. Next, we have consumer stocks. So, these are categorized according to ito yung palaging binibiling products ng mga consumers. So, mga commodities ito. Like, for example, we have San Miguel Food and Beverage. We have Swift Foods. URC, Universal Robina Corporation is under JG Summit. So, ito yung gumagawa ng paborito nyong chichirya at C2. Yes, C2 baka naman. Okay. San Miguel Corporation, LT Group. So, actually, mga holding firms din itong mga to. But the reason why they are here in the consumer sector is because most of their products are really day-to-day consumed by the Filipino people, just like Jollibee Foods Corporation, ano? Then we have education. Yes, CEU is a listed company. Same with FEU. FEU is under the arm of the LT Group or the Lushotan Group. So, sa kanila po yung FEU. And then we have ETF. So, nag-iisa lang po siya. Wow! First in the Philippines, first Metro Philippine Equity ETF, which is owned by the Metro Bank Group. Okay? Bakit na ano? Okay. Na ano pala na isiksik siya. Ito, consumer pa rin to. But, anyway. So, let's just skip that. You can read that on your own time. I'm not gonna read them one by one. Okay. Alright, next we have the Hotel and Leisure. Ayan, Boulevard Holdings, Grand Plaza Hotel, and then we have Waterfront Philippines. Waterfront Philippines is actually owned by the famous Gatchalian family, no? Si Senator Win and Mayor Rex Gatchalian of Valenzuela. So, kanila po yung Waterfront. IT, napaka-konti ng ating IT stocks. Kasi sa ibang bansa, especially in the US, in China, napakarami talaga nilang IT stocks because this is where the world is heading towards that direction, ano, sa IT. But in the Philippines, we only have a few IT stocks. Then we have media, yan ang gustong-gusto nyo, no? GMA, bakit wala yung ABS-CBN dito? Supposed to be, dapat may ABS-CBN dito. And then we have Globe, Manila Bulletin, Manila Broadcasting, and PLDT. Although, it can also be categorized under telecommunications. Okay? And then we have mining and oil. There is a very, very famous mining and oil firm which is called, I think it's Philex. Philex Mining is shared by MVP or Manny Pangilinan. Kaya sila nagkaroon ng mainit na pagtatalo ni Madam Gina Lopez na sumalangit nawa because si Gina Lopez talaga ayaw niya ng mga mining firms and isa sa mga hinahawakang kumpanya ni MVP ay ang Philex Mining. But anyway, so they're still there, no? Hindi pwedeng mawala ang mining and oil kasi napakataas talaga ng demand for gold at the moment. Now that the dollar is struggling in terms of its value, they're saying that we are going back to the gold standard in terms of backing up our money and currency. Power and water, we have the Aboitiz Power Corporation, Meralco, Manila Water, Petron, Vivant, yan. And then here is a separate classification, preferred stocks. You would know naman kapag yung stocks na bili mo is hindi siya common stock kasi naka-indicate talaga kung preferred stocks ba siya. Okay? And then we have the property sector. Syempre, hindi mawawala dyan yung Ayala. No? Very well known ang Ayala when it comes to property development. alongside Philinvest. Ayan, we have Philinvest here in Tarlac, no? Sa may malapit sa Aguso, or Aguso na ba yun? We have Robinson Land, Mega World, no? Mega World is known to Mega World ba Mega Wide? I think it's Mega Wide. Mega Wide is known to develop our airports in the Philippines. Sila yung nakakuha ng mga projects natin. That's why ano sila ngayon, very very much prosperous, ano? At ang nakakuha naman, nag-develop dyan sa New Clark City ay ang Philinvest. So sila ang nakakuha ng project. Good for them. And what else? We have Rockwell, Shank Properties, SM Prime Holdings, of course. If some of you might think, no, pag sinabi kasi nating SM, they are, kumbaga parang akalain mo it's a retail company. No, kaya siya under sa property because technically ang nature ng business model nila is really leasing. So they would develop properties and convert it into malls, and then ipapaupa nila yung mga spaces na yun. Therefore, they are under the property sector. So kumikita ang SM not because of any products that they sell, no, but because of the properties that they develop and mga pinapaupa nga, ano. And then we have Vista Malls. I don't know if Vista Malls and Vista Land. I don't know if you're familiar with this firm, but it is owned by the former Senator Manny Villar, who is considered top two richest businessman in the Philippines. Okay. At ang kanyang may bahay ay si Madam. Gusto ko sinasabi. Si Madam Cynthia Villar, ano, na very controversial dahil napakaraming kinonvert na sakahang lupa to their subdivision, their properties, ano. Pero wag na nating pag-usapan dito yan kasi baka ma-record nyo pa at pahanting ako ni Madam, ano. But anyway, these are facts naman, no. They are known to be developers of subdivisions here in the Philippines. Yan, isa lang yan. Next, retail. Yes, Pure Gold Price Club is a listed company in the Philippines. As I have mentioned in my previous video, na the reason kung bakit nakapag-expand ng ganun kabilis ang Pure Gold is because it has decided to open its doors to public investors. And then we also have Philippine 7 Corporation. So these are under retail. Then transportation, we have, siguro ito, alam nyo to, Cebu Air, no? Cebu Pacific. We also have PAL Holdings or Philippine Airlines. Ito, mga shipping firms natin. Ang pinakamalaki ay ang International Container Terminal Services Incorporated. Ayan, Global Port. So alam nyo na, yan ay team sa PBA at lahat ng team sa PBA ay hawak po ni Sir Manny V. Pangilinan, DMVP. Ayan. Ang Macro Asia naman, hindi siya transportation services pero support service siya ng PAL Holdings. So siya ang in charge sa catering, siya ang in charge dun sa mga other allied services that helps the operation of PAL. So under yan sa Lushotan Group. Okay. Other financial institutions, so hindi siya nagpo-fall under sa banks, but they are also classified as financial institutions. So kasama na dyan yung COL, Financial Group, nandyan din yung Manulife, andyan yung the Philippine Stock Exchange. Kung nakikita nyo, no? PSE is classified under other financial institutions. So you could also buy shares from the PSE because it's also a listed company itself. And then we also have Sun Life and Vantage Equities. Do we still have more? Meron pa ba? Alright, so that's it. Now we go to the classification of stocks according to characteristics. Alright. So this is another jargon that probably you would be hearing a lot. No, now that you understand that there are classifications of stocks according to characteristics. So blue chip stocks, mauna tayo. When you say blue chip stocks, these are the most sought after stocks in the market because they are, maliban sa sila ang pinakasikat, so sila din ay pinaka-established. Ibig sabihin na they surpassed the highs and lows of the market and they have already proven themselves worthy that regardless of kung sino man yung nakaupo sa posisyon sa gobyerno, kung na-surpass yung mga financial crisis like with what happened in 2008, with the Asian financial crisis in the 90s, no, na-surpass yan. Isa sa mga nakasurpass yan ay yung Ayala Corporation. That's why consistently labeled as blue chip stock talaga ang Ayala Corporation. Okay? So, let me just read the definition. These are shares of well-established and financially sound companies that have demonstrated their ability to pay dividends in both good and bad times. They also exhibit more modest but dependable returns and are relatively of lower risk. So, kumbaga, these are considered as large cap stocks. So, kapag ka large cap stocks, these are highly stable and low-risk company. So, kung merong magtatanong sa'yo na kaibigan, katrabaho, tatanungin ka, ano bang magandang company na pwede nating invest ngayon? So, probably the first thing that you will be referring to that friend would be a blue chip stock company. Okay, so, sino ba yung mga blue chip stocks na yun? No? As of 2021, usually, nagre-release ang PSE ng 30 top companies according to qualifications. Meron pong qualifications na sinusundan para ikaw ay maging blue chip stock. At maliban pa doon, usually itong mga blue chip stocks na to, sila din yung nasa PSEI or yung composite index natin na pag-uusapan natin later. So far, these are the blue chip stocks that you should be familiar with at this point in your course as a student of finance, no? Tingnan yung mabuti at if you can memorize them, o hindi naman memorize, just be familiar with their names, ano? We have Aboitiz, Alliance Global, which is a holding firm, by the way. Ayala Land is the property leg of Ayala Corporation. Aboitiz Power Corporation is under Aboitiz Equity Ventures. Kumbaga, holding firm si Aboitiz and then subsidiary lang si Aboitiz Power. We have BDO Unibank, Bloomberry Resorts, BPI, DMCI. DMCI is a property, actually, property developer siya, but DMCI Holdings is the holding firm. Okay? First gen, we have Globe, GT Capital, and then we have International Container Terminal, we have JFC, JG Summit, or John Gokongwei Group, no? Sa kanila yung Robinson, sa kanila yung Cebu Pacific, Universal Robina Corporation, sa kanila din yung Summit Publishing, ano? Kaso wala ng Summit Publishing at the moment. LT Group is the Lushotan Group, Metrobank Group, which is owned by GT Capital Holdings, ano, si George T. Sumalangit nawa, ano. Mega World, Meralco, Metro Pacific Investment. So if you're familiar with NLEX, SCTEX, so they are the developer of those expressways, no. And then we have Pure Gold, Robinson's Land, Robinson's Retail, Semirara Mining and Power Corporation, Security Bank, and then of course SM Investment, San Miguel Corporation, SMC, SM Prime Holdings. So SM Prime Holdings is the holding firm of the SM Group. So siya yung mother company ng SM Group. And then we have PLDT, and lastly is the Universal Robina under the GT Capital Holdings. JG Capital pala. John Gokongwei Group. So, at least by now, alam niyo na, okay, so may mga blue chip stocks pala. Ito yung mga pinakamadaling companies na pwede mong i-invest ang iyong pinaghirapang pera. So, these are just some of the logos. Ano? So, next time siguro, pagka nakita nyo yan, alam ko na. Oo, blue chip stock yan. Yes. Okay, ito, in-insert ko lang just so you can appreciate this by now. This is the 2020 Forbes Philippines Rich List. As you can see, number 1 with $13.9 billion. This is not in peso, this is in dollars. The C siblings, pinagsama-sama na yung kanilang net worth. So altogether, yung iniwan sa kanila ng dad nila na si Henry C. Senior, si Henry C, $13.9 billion. Wow, just imagine having that amount of money in a single family. I don't know. Kasi nga naman, real estate ang business nila. Pagka ang value ng building, lupa pinagsama mo, ay naku, napakalaki naman talaga. Oo. So sabi nila, wala daw karapatan ng isang tao na mag-amas ng ganyang kalaking pera, Pwede niya nang pakainin ng buong Pilipinas kung tutuusin, But we're very thankful for them because of the employment that they give to the Philippines. But on the other side of that, very controversial din because of yung contractualization nga. Okay, but that's another issue that can be discussed. And then number 2 is Manny Villar of Vistaland. Yun, $5 billion. Next is Enrique Razon. So, siya ang CEO ng International Container Terminal Services Incorporated. Yan ang pinakamalaking port service provider ng Pilipinas. Okay? Number 4 is Lance Gokongwei and siblings, Ang kumbaga sa kanya ipinasa ng kanyang amang si John Gokongwei ang kanilang kumpanya. So siya ngayon ang pinaka-head ng group, ng Gokongwei Group. JG Summit, Lance Gokongwei, $4.1 billion. Next is number 5, Jaime Sobel de Ayala. Hindi ko na kailangan pang sabihin kaninong kumpanya ang hawak niya kasi nandun na sa pangalan. Ayala Corporation. Number 6 is Andrew Tan. Siya ang head ng Alliance Global Group. Kung itatanong nyo, sinong nagmamanage ng McDonald's sa Pilipinas, so sa kanila po yun. Sa kanila din ng, kung nadadaan kayo ng QC, yung UP Town Center, sa kanila po yun. Mega Wide Group. Tama ba ako? If I'm not mistaken. Napagbabaliktad ko kasi yung Mega World sa Mega Wide. And then sa kanila din yung Emperador Distillers, At napakarami pa. So, Andrew Tan of the Alliance Global Group. And then we have Lucio Tan, LT Group. Like I said, sa kanila yung PAL, Macro Asia, sa kanila yung Fortune Tobacco, sa kanila ang PNB na nag-merge with wala na ngayon yun yung Allied Bank. So, nag-merge with PNB and FEU sa kanila din. And other stakes pa. Then number 8, we have Ramon Ang. Ramon Ang is the CEO of San Miguel Corporation. So, siya ang kanang kamay ng namayapang famous Tarlakenyo na si Danding Coangco at 2 billion. The number 9, we have Tony Tan Cactiong. Kung mahilig po kayong kumain sa Jollibee at paborito nyo ang Chicken Joy, siya lang naman ang owner, chairman ba tawag? CEO of Jollibee Foods Corporation. And number 10, Lucio and Susan Ko of Pure Gold Price Club. O, diba? Nakita nyo gaano ka-powerful yung ating mga business owners, mga negosyante, because you know what? They can actually manipulate the politics environment or the political climate in the Philippines, whether we admit it or not, because they have interests that they have to preserve, money and assets that they have to preserve. So kung ano man yon, ibang kaso na naman at ibang usapin na naman. But at least by now, whenever you see the news, oh, wow, 2020 Forbes Philippines Rich List, they are the owners of the blue chip stocks in the Philippines, automatic na yon. Okay, so yung mga iba, wala man dyan, but for sure, they are in the top 50 or kung di man top 50, top 100 richest Filipinos in the Philippines. Although, kung titignan nyo, no, si former Senator Manny Villar lang talaga ang legit 100% Filipino kasi the rest are Chinoy and the rest are half Spanish like si Enrique Razon is half Spanish. Jaime Zubel de Ayala is 100% Spanish. Sino ba? Oh, the rest are Chinoy. So Manny Villar is a standout because he's really a laking hirap, no? Laking Maynila, batang tondo. Okay. So I hope that was a very informative slide for you guys, although medyo mahaba. Now we go to income stocks. So after blue chip stocks, we have what we call income stocks. If you are the type of investor who is just looking for good dividend paying stocks, these stocks are called income stocks because these shares have good dividend payment history. Okay, since they are stable, income stocks generally have a lower level of volatility. And when a stock has a lower level of volatility, alam nyo na, hindi siya kasing taas in terms of return. Stable, pero hindi ganun kataas yung possible returns. And then we have growth stocks or we call the glamour stocks. Ito yung mga tipong rookie of the year, rising star of the year. These are the stocks that you look forward to shining in the next 5 to 10 years. You have to invest on them early so that you could enjoy their gains in the long term. But it's very tricky and very risky in investing in growth stocks because they are really volatile, high risk, and uncertain pa yung magiging takbo ng performance ng firm. Okay? So, it's not for the conservative investor. Growth stocks are really for aggressive investors. Then we have the defensive stocks. Defensive stocks, from the words of defensive, they are the ones defending your portfolio in terms of the bad times because sila yung aasahan mong steady yung income, steady yung kita, hindi ganun ka-volatile. So, in terms of having losses from your other stocks, sila yung mag-shield or mag-guide or magko-cover nung losses na yon in terms of difficult situations. So, generally, defensive stocks are utilities companies. And so, when we say utilities company, we have the power and water company. We have, ano pa ba, yung mga consumer stocks. Ayan, yung mga steady lang ang demand kahit na kunwari ngayon may pandemic, ang kumita talaga ngayon mga grocery, mga ospital. Ayan, so defensive stocks. Next is we have the cyclical stocks from the word itself, cycle. So if you are an investor and you would want a good mix of stocks in your portfolio, you would want cyclical stocks in a sense na, of course, meron talagang peak season and then meron tayong tinatawag na normal business operations. Kapag okay yung economy, the stock is gonna go up. Okay? If not, then steady lang. So why do you want to have a number of cyclical stocks? Well, in terms of sharing a piece of pie to the prosperity of a booming economy, like for example, typically speaking, if kunwari November 1, ang malakas kapag ka November 1 ay kandila, bulaklak. So ikaw na gustong mag-share dun sa mataas na demand na yon, you would want a piece of that pie. So, unlike defensive stocks, ang cyclical stocks ay highly risky din because hindi steady yung kanyang return. But then again, it can also provide you good gains in terms of business peaks. Okay? Yung okay na okay talaga yung in demand, yung service or yung product ng stock na yan. Next is, I think this is the last, speculative stocks. when you say speculative stocks, from the root word speculate, haka-haka, feeling mo, gut feel, no, based sa political climate, based on the economic trajectory of the country, there are really stocks that this is good for traders. Ano, this is not good for long-term investments kasi nga purely speculations. So if you are a trader and you would go for speculative stocks, it's either you win big or you lose hard. Okay? Because speculative stocks depend on it depends on the performance of the economy. So sabi niya, the shares rise quickly when the economic growth is strong and falls rapidly when growth is slowing down. So a speculative stock is considered very risky because of its volatility. All right, so that's it for our classification of stocks according to their characteristics. So let's just give a quick recap of what we've discussed so far here. Number one, we have the blue chip stocks. Second one is the income stocks. Third one is growth stocks. Next is defensive stocks, cyclical stocks, and lastly, speculative stocks. Okay, moving on to our next subtopic. Pag-usapan naman natin ang ating PSEI or the Philippine Composite Index, no? Ang pangunahing stock index na meron ang bansang Pilipinas. So, just like the blue chip stocks, like I said a while ago, the PSEI is also composed of 30 stocks. So, usually kung ano yung nasa category ng blue chip stock, sila din ang kadalasan nasa PSEI. So these are common stocks of listed companies carefully selected to represent the general movement of the stock market. So it is the benchmark measuring the performance of the Philippine stock market. So ano ba yung qualifications para ikaw ay ma-include sa PSEI? Number one, your free float level should be at least 12%. So sa madaling salita, when we say free float level, this is the amount of the outstanding shares of the company that can be bought by the public. Because whether we like it or not, these companies are first privately owned and usually are family-owned businesses, just like the C family, the Gokongwei family, the Tan family, the the Villar family. So kailangan yung kanilang free float level or the number of shares that are available to the public should be at least 12%. And the company must rank among the top 25% in terms of median daily value in 9 out of 12-month period in review. So meaning, sa madaling salita, they are the mostly traded stocks in a daily basis. Okay? Sila yung palaging binibili, tinitrade in a daily basis. And in terms of market capitalization, when we say market capitalization, that would be the number of shares outstanding multiplied by the price of the stock. That would be in terms of market capitalization. So in short, ito yung laki ng pera na kanilang naipupundar or they are able to raise out of selling financial securities. So these are the top 3 criteria for qualifications for you to be included in the PSEI. Okay, so hindi ko na sinama yung list dito ng top 30 natin because they are already the same companies listed in the blue chip stocks. So i-review nyo na lang ulit if you would want to look at it. So ito yung ating historical data, This is a line chart showing this is only from 1992 to 2000 and late 2016. It's been an uptrend ever since, which is a good thing. But unfortunately, when the pandemic happened, from 7,000 points noong November 2009, it was It was highly affected, no, with what happened. Like I said, isa talaga ang Pilipinas sa pinakatinamaan. At makita natin, ano, hindi ganun ka-solid yung pundasyon ng isang bagay once it's not resilient to change. So, we have proven that we have so much to do in our equities market because highly versatile, hindi naman versatile, highly resilient stock markets in the Southeast Asian countries are proven to have mas stable, kumbaga, no, as compared to us. Kasi biglang abante ng mga investors natin, biglang once kasi bumaba ang ating stock market points, it only means nag-pull out yung ating mga investors sa stock market because of the anxiety of the uncertainties that was happening in March of 2020 when the lockdown actually began. So kung makikita niyo yung timeline natin from November to December and then January when the first case of COVID happened, nag-slip na talaga. Ito yung speculation period eh. So from 7,200 points to 6,787 down to 5,321 in March 2020. So, nung October 2020, kahit papaano, no, nakausbong naman tayo. And currently, at this point in time, our PSEI is still in the 6,000 points. No? Napakalayo dun sa narating natin nung 2018 na 9,000 points. But still, we are in the point of recovery. We are hoping that the government response to insert stimulus in our economy can boost investor confidence again, to generate employment, and sana, no, maging available na the soonest yung ating vaccine, so kahit papaano maibsan na yung ating mga lockdowns nang makabalik na sa normal yung ating ekonomiya. At isang malaking factor din actually, no, yung unemployment rate natin ay tumaas because of the OFWs who came back home, dahil din nagsara na din yung ekonomiya ng malalaking bansa like UAE, ano ba, the US, yung mga nasa barko, no, napilitan talagang umuwi. So everything is a domino effect. Okay? And this is what happens, no, when hindi first time na ganito ang itsura ng mga stocks all over the world. So these are per regional stocks, no. Everything is raining red. And you know, kapag ka red ang stock market, you know that everything is down. Everything is negative. But they are saying, no, the effects of the COVID-19 is worse. It's worse than the 2008 financial crisis because what happened here is nagkaroon ng housing bubble sa US and everything it had a domino effect in the global stock markets. Hindi lang US ang apektado. Ang daming mga malalaking investment banks ang nagsara at binail out ng gobyerno para lang operate ulit, but it's still an ongoing crisis for the US. From that crisis hanggang ngayon hindi pa sila naka-recover, and then the pandemic happened, talagang lubog na lubog ang US in terms of economic performance. So nung kasagsagan ng pandemic, the Nasdaq lost at least 23% of ang laki ng ibinaba, no? Loss of 23%, S&P lost 26.14%, Dow Jones lost 29.27%, and the biggest, which is the NYSE, lost 31%. So we're talking of capitalization, and when we say capitalization, these are the huge amounts of investments being pulled out in the market. Okay, which is very alarming, ano? At alam mo na dito pa lang masasabi mo na meron na namang financial crisis na nangyayari. Alright? Okay, so these are the major stock indices in the world. Pag sinabi mong major, these are, kumbaga, ito yung the indices that you look forward to monitoring every day because changes in this stock indices would affect our local indices. So, ano ba yan? We have the S&P 500. So, as you can see, nakasulat na dito yung country of origin. We have the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the Nasdaq Composite, NYSE Composite, NYSE EMEX Composite, the UK 100, Russell 2000, the VIX or VIX of the USA also, FTSE 100, the DAX Performance Index ng Germany. We have CAC 40 of France, ESTX 50 of EU, Euronext 100 of EU as well. We have the BEL 20 Belgium, MOEX Russia Index, the Nikkei 225 of Japan, Hang Seng Index of Hong Kong, SSE Composite Index of China, Shenzhen Component of China, and lastly, although marami pa, no, but these are just the top 20, STI Index of Singapore. So these are the major stock indices na kapag ito gumalaw, asahan mo na yung mga local indices natin ay gagalaw din. That is why, alam nyo, whenever there is an election in the US, imposibleng hindi natin bantayan yan because ang paggalaw ng ekonomiya ng Estados Unidos ay paggalaw rin ng ekonomiya ng Pilipinas at iba pang karatig bansa natin sa Southeast Asia. Okay, so it's important that you know all of this in a nutshell kahit papaano. Although we're going to discuss about stock market indices computation, weighting methods on a different video. So it's just a brief introduction of this stock indices. Now we go to our next subtopic. I think this is going to be the last subtopic. That's how to start investing in the Philippine stock market. I'm sure you are very much willing to learn about this because these are just the basics. Ano ba yung mga dapat kong malaman if I'm very much interested to start investing in the Philippine stock market. Okay, so I'm gonna show to you guys itong tinatawag nating web of stock market participants natin. No? Everything is interconnected and you are here. If you are the investor, you have to make sure that you're connected with the brokers, and the brokers are connected with the publicly listed companies through the transfer agents. Okay? So, yung mga custodians na tinatawag natin, sila yung ahente ng mga kumpanyang nagbebenta ng stocks nila. Okay? And then the trading participants are the investment banks, the brokers, the block brokers, etc., etc. And they are connected to the stock exchange. They are also connected to the settlement banks, and they are connected to the depository arm of the stock exchange. So, when you say settlement banks, ito yung mga bangko na madalas nating makita sa mga town centers natin. You could easily pay through their app. Ibig sabihin, kung dati wala pa tayong mobile app, napaka inconvenient pumunta sa bangko para mag-deposit. But now, through the touch of your fingertips, you could already settle your payments through their mobile application. And kung titingnan nyo, itong depository, this is an institution na ang purpose ay para mag-receive ng payments from the settlement banks. And this PDTC is monitored and supervised by clearinghouses. The clearinghouse of the Philippines. Ibig sabihin nito yung third party na nag-check kung yung investor ba ay may sapat na kakayahang magbayad. Okay? Liquid ba yan? Ibig sabihin yung bank account ba niya is dumaan nga ba sa settlement banks? At papasa niya ngayon sa PDTC. Parang siya yung nagsasabing clear, go. Okay yung ating transaction, malinis. Okay? And then from the PDTC, i-reflect niya yan pabalik dun sa transfer agent at sasabihin, okay, we've received the payment. You can now settle the account. You can now receive the certificate that you have purchased stocks through your broker from the stock exchange. Okay? So, sa madaling salita, kung wala po ang isa sa mga ito, hindi makiklear yung transaction mo sa stock exchange. So, once you've settled your account, ang dami pa niyang pupuntahang mga opisina to your broker, settlement banks, clearinghouse, to the depository or the PDTC, and then back to the transfer agents or the custodians, back to the broker. All right, so that's how it works. Now, these are investing procedures as published by the PSE website. The first thing that you have to do is you have to choose a stockbroker. We have two types of stockbrokers, online and traditional stockbrokers. So the traditional stockbrokers are the ones that you see on the trading floor. They answer the phone. Pwede kayong mag-schedule ng appointment. But ang pinakauso ngayon is yung mga online stockbrokers na because it's less hassle, it's more convenient. You can do it at home. You don't need to call the broker. You just have to place your order yourself and everything will be managed online. Okay. First, you will have to open an account. So same with online platforms, you have to first open an account. You have to verify that you are not a robot. Yeah. So i-verify mo na ikaw ay totoong Pilipino at nais mong makipag-participate or mag-participate sa stock exchange. Okay? And then the next step would be you have to give your order. So, ilan ba ang bibilin mo? Anong shares ba yan? How much are you willing to buy, etc., etc. And then you have to ask for the confirmation receipt, of course. And then you have to pay before the settlement date. Okay? At saan babayaran yan, of course, sa mga settlement banks. And then after 3 days, you would receive from your broker either, of course, kung nagbenta ka, proceeds, and proof of ownership naman kung ikaw ay bumili. Alright, next is, actually, ito hindi naman to procedure. This is just an FYI. So, we have what we call the primary and the secondary market, which I have discussed in my previous video. No, if you sell during an IPO, ibig sabihin ang IPO is the initial public offering. This is the first time that the firm is going to sell its shares to the public. So, we call that IPO. First time share offerings. Ibig sabihin, didiretso yung investment mo to the firm. Okay? Didiretso yung investment mo sa primary market or dun sa listed company kung saan bumili ka ng shares. And then, after the IPO, kapag bumili ka na sa public market or sa open market, we also call that as the secondary market. This is the time that you are buying shares from traders to traders. No, hindi ka na bumibili ng kumbaga shares coming from the company. This is now shares that are being bought and sold by buyers or traders. Okay? So, the proceeds of the IPO goes directly to the primary market. Unlike in the secondary market, kumikita ka na lang dun sa decrease and increase dun sa price ng stocks that were already bought in the secondary market. Alright? Now, this is the trading cycle. Kumbaga, this is just a continue. What happens to the buying investor and the selling investor? And how they go back to the buying investor or to the selling investor. So as you can see, it always begins with the broker. So after mo kausapin si broker, gagawa ka ng trade, sasabihin mo kung anong shares ang ipopurchase mo, you go to the settlement banks and then the settlement bank to the clearing house. Okay? So, once that the fund is cleared, ibig sabihin, malinis yung pinagmulan ng pera kung saan ka bumili, no? It will now go to the depository, to the PDTC, Philippine Depository Trust and Corporation. This is not a bank. This is just a channel. It's just an institution that receives the payment for any financial securities transaction. And then from there, the PDTC will okay to the broker that we have received your payment. And from there, the broker will issue your certificate of ownership and you will receive that back as the buying investor. And ganun din if ikaw naman ay magbebenta, the selling investor will again communicate with the broker. At kung mapapansin nyo, babalik siya sa PSE. Ang kausap mo dito is yung PSE, which is accredited. Usually, mga brokers is really accredited by the PSE. That's why, if you want to be a listed broker in the Philippines, ang una mong gagawin, ang unang procedure is to attend seminars and tradings in the PSE. First one is you have to qualify as a capital market specialist para makapag-exam ka as a broker. So, that's the first step. So, the PSE is the one who qualifies brokers. So, isa din yung potential career in the future if you're interested to be part of the capital market or the equities market in the Philippines. So, after that, the depository, the PDTC will confirm if the funds are there dahil ikaw yung nagbebenta, dahil ikaw yung magre-receive. Alright? So, from the clearinghouse, i-okay ng clearinghouse yung pera na binayad sa'yo since ikaw nagbebenta at pupunta yan sa settlement bank. So, ang bank ang mag-o-okay kay broker at sasabihin, we have received your proceeds. You may now receive your proceeds from the shares that you have sold. So, ganun ang trading cycle that happens. So, dumadaan yan sa broker, PSE, settlement bank, and then clearinghouse, and then the depository, PDTC. So, ang PDTC po ay hindi bangko, hindi rin siya financial institution na nagre-receive ng deposits for profit making. So, PDTC is just an arm of the PSE. And that's its solely responsibility. Mag-accept lang ng deposits coming from the settlement banks who purchased shares from buying and selling investors. Alright, next. This is what we call the board lot system. So, this determines the minimum number of shares an investor can buy or sell at a specific price range. So, hindi ka pwedeng bumili ng isa lang. Usually, sa mga mining firms, ganito yung price range. So, if you are going to buy a share or a market price with at least 0.001 to 0.009, wala pang piso, Wala pang piso. You are supposed to buy a lot size of 1,000. This is not even 1,000. No, this is dami nito, 1 million shares. O anim ang bilog. So you need to purchase at least 1 million shares if you are going to purchase stocks within this price range. Okay, kasi nga mura 1 million. Hindi ka basta-basta makakabili. Now, if you're going to purchase, like for example, dito tayo sa, ano ba to? This is 5 pesos ba to? I think, no. Tama, kasi 4 digits. Anyway, this is 5 peso. So, 5, kung ang price range niya is 5 peso to 10 peso, you have to at least purchase 100 shares. So, ito yung minimum, okay? This is just a minimum. It's by bulk kung bibilin mo siya. So, itong tick size, ang ibig lang sabihin yan, magmo-move ang price ng stock price depende dito sa interval na ito. Okay? So, ito is for price movement lang. But anyway, so these are orders. So, 50 to 100 peso, you have to at least buy 10 shares. If it's 100 to 200, you have to at least buy 10 shares. So, if it's 5,000 and up, like for example, PLDT shares or Hindi pala siya PLDT share. Meron na ba tayong 5,000 and up? You will only purchase at least 5 shares. So, yun ang tinatawag nating lot size. Hindi ka basta-basta pwedeng bumili ng isang piraso lang. Meron pa ring minimum orders na sinusundan. And that is called a lot size. So, this is an example. If you're going to buy shares, meron ka pa rin kaakibat na mga fees na babayaran. Kasama na yung broker's commission, ano? You have the SEC fee, we have the PSE transaction fee, and then we have the clearinghouse fee. So, meron kanya-kanyang percent po yan. So, this is a sample transaction. So, if it's worth 10,000, yung additional fee mo would be at least 30 pesos all in all. So, habang lumalaki yung transaction mo, lumalaki din yung additional transaction fee. So, ganun din naman kung ikaw yung magbebenta, meron pa rin mga fee. So, might as well every time you transact with your broker or whether it be traditional or online broker, kumbaga one time, big time. Sulitin mo na. Kasi hindi pwedeng araw-araw ka nagtatransact, medyo malaki din yung fee na binabayaran. Alright? So, in terms of online investment sites naman and platform, if you're interested to start investing right now, ngayon din, no? Ngayon na, pwede mong gawin yon. If you're not a fan of yung traditional investments, traditional broker pala, sorry, pwede ka nang mag-start using online platforms. So, the first one is the First Metro Securities. Ito po ay walang bayad, hindi po ako binigyan ng promotional fee dito. I'm doing this for free just so you're interested to know more about this. Nag-insert na ako ng other information. So, if you would want to invest initially, you would only be needing 2,500 initial deposit. Ito ay pambukas lang ng account sa Metro Bank. And from there, you could already start putting money in that account. So, kapag ikaw ay already, kapag ikaw ay isang account holder na ng Metro Bank, there is no minimum deposit needed anymore. Kasi, syempre, nagbayad ka na sa kanila. Andun na yung initial deposit. So, meron silang mobile app. So, there you can do it through your phone. So, yun. 2,500 lang. Pwede na. O, diba? So, Metrobank account holders, OFWs, and even students, kasama po kayo doon. So, there is no reason for you guys, sabihin mo, hindi kasi siya accessible, no? With the rise of technology in our hands, even the stock market is very accessible for you guys. And then ito, isa sa mga pinakasikat, no? COL Financial. Hindi po siya bangko, but ang kanyang purpose is really to be an online broker. So, ang minimum investment niya ay 5,000 lang. Okay. Wala lang siyang mobile app, pero meron siyang website. So, you could only access COL through your laptop or through your desktop. So, probably in the near future, magkaroon na rin sila ng mobile application. The good thing about COL is they have investor education seminars. Meron silang 7-day trial. If feeling mo, kakayanin mo na yung risk-taking activities ng pagpa-participate sa stock market, why not? You can try it at 5,000. Who knows, after 1 year, this 5,000 would be 8,000 already. 12,000, 15,000, you'll never know. And then as you increase the amount of capital in your account, the gains that you will be receiving would also multiply as you go on. Diba? 5,000 lang. We also have AB Capital Securities. Wala rin siyang mobile application. Meron lang siyang online website. Okay? So, ito yung kanyang website. You may want to navigate the website if you have free time. We have Phil Stocks. Actually, ito fina-follow ko to sa Twitter kasi very informative yung kanilang mga announcements. They also do valuation of stocks. They make announcements coming from the bulletins of the firms as well. Okay, so meron siyang minimum investment just like COL, 5,000. The difference of PhilStocks and COL, merong mobile application si PhilStocks. Okay. Next, we have Alpha Securities, 5,000 as well. Wala rin silang mobile application, but you can visit them at their website. So, these are certified, legit online platforms as certified by the SEC. So, alam nyong legit sila. By the way, guys, before kayo mag-invest sa kahit na ano pa yan, whether it be stocks, whether it be private shares, make sure the company is accredited by the SEC. So, dun yung makikita yung legitimacy ng mga firms, online platforms, kung sila ay accredited by the SEC. At pwede nyo ring i-check, no, sa website ng SEC, as I have shown to you guys dun sa nauna kong video, if legit ba talaga yung company na gusto mong paglaanan ng investment. Next, we have BA Securities Inc. Again, 5,000 minimum investment. Wala ring mobile application, but you can visit their website. We also have Eastern Securities Development Corporation, or GoTrade. No? Minimum investment is also 5,000. They have an available mobile application, and you can also visit their website. So, kung makikita ninyo, no, meron na silang listings ng mga local publicly listed companies in the Philippines. They also provide stock charts, and they also provide news and bulletins. So, nandyan na, it's all there. It's a one-stop shop. Same with other, I think ganun din sa COL and sa PhilStocks, nandyan na yung mga information na kailangan nyo for decision making. The problem is at this moment, hindi pa kayo marunong magbasa niyan. So, asahan nyo na in our next coming discussions, we would be discussing about fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Kasama na dyan yung pagbabasa ng stock charts. Okay, wow, very exciting, mama. Yes, truly, indeed. And then we also have Lucky Securities Inc. Initial investment is also 5,000. Wala nga lang silang mobile app, but they have their website. And then eToro, I have this on my phone. It's installed. The minimum investment is $50. Yes, you have to pay it at, so kailangan meron kang dollar account sa bank para ikaw ay makapag-participate sa eToro. This is an international platform. So, hindi lang siya stocks. Pwede ka ring mag-invest sa cryptocurrencies available. Forex, ito yung aking dinidiscover at the moment. I'm very much interested in Forex trading at the moment. They also have commodities, ETFs, and index funds. In short, mas malawak yung sakop ni eToro as compared to the local platforms. Although, of course, you have to trade in dollars. So, kung medyo, masasabi mo ng mas aggressive ka na talaga when it comes to investments, you can do that through eToro. Okay? And then we have Bonds PH. Ito naman, retail treasury bonds ng Pilipinas. So, ito ay under sa Bureau of Treasury. Powered by Union Bank. Yes naman, Union Bank. Thank you. Baka naman. So, bonds.ph. You could purchase treasury bonds at the tip of your fingertips. Alright. So, that's it for yung mga ini-endorse. Kaya ko siya ini-endorse kasi certified, legit, legit online platforms na pwede ninyong install at i-explore at this point in time if you're really interested and feeling you're ready na talaga kayo, no? Pero of course, you have to first make further research, mag-fundamental analysis muna tayo at mag-technical analysis bago siguro kayo sumabak at sabihin nyo, ma'am, confident na ako, ready na ako. Okay, tapusin nyo muna tong SEM bago kayo mag-decide na I'm gonna start investing in the stock market already. Diba? At least, masasabi mo, di naman ako nag-experiment lang. Talagang pinag-aralan ko. Okay, the last slide that I would, last portion of my slides that I would like to share with you guys is the top 10 investing tips from none other than the icon of stock market investment, Mr. Warren Buffett. Okay, so top 10, ano, sabi niya, number 1, do not do investment to make money. Instead, invest your money with the objective of generating more and more assets. Ito kasi yung number 1, kumbaga, it's the stereotype. When you do stock investment, you feel like you're doing it for the money. No. Ako kasi, like, as inspired by him, my mantra would be to invest to increase the value of my investment, not to make money out of it. Okay? Iba ang value sa income, right? So, value is long-term, income is just for short-term. So, dun tayo sa pang long-term. Next. Okay, next. Buy stocks to hold it for life. That's why it's so important for you to select a stock that you can trust for life. You know that this firm is representing your values. It represents what you believe in. It represents the culture that you want to aspire or that you want to see in a company. That's why you're holding it for life, because you think it can be a partner for life. So parang lupa lang yan, bumibili ka kasi not because you want to sell it immediately, but because you want to see it grow. Diba? Pwede mo pang ipamana sa mga apo mo, anak mo, diba? And according to Warren Buffett, only confused people diversify their investments. Nako, although siya talaga, he is known to diversifying stock investments. Pero puro stock investments kasi siya, hindi siya into cryptocurrencies. Hindi siya naniniwala sa cryptocurrencies. Hindi rin siya masyado sa commodities. More on stock investments talaga siya. That's why he was able to say na only confused people diversify their investments. Siya kasi purely stock investments. And then, buy stocks of companies doing monopoly business. Kasi when you say monopoly, they control. So, ang competition is napakahirap. Ang hirap makipag-compete sa kanila because they can monopolize the industry or the business that they are in. So, kung titignan mo yung portfolio ni Mr. Warren Buffett, kaya makikita mo monopolize. Ano ba yung kumpanya niya, no? Coca-Cola, you have McDonald's, Apple, mga ganyan, okay? Next, always buy undervalued stocks. Ito yung pinag-uusapan natin. The target really of our wala pala tayo sa portfolio management. Nasa capital market tayo. Anyway, ang ibig niya lang sabihin dito is to look for the cheapest stock in the stock market and then you buy it. Not because it's cheap na wala siyang value. You are just waiting for the right time for this firm to shine. Okay? So, bibilin mo siya at that point na hindi pa siya nadi-discover. No, para kang manager na nagsiscout ng talent. Bago pa sumikat yung talent mo, kailangan nakita mo na siya. So, that's what he meant dun sa sinasabi niyang always buy undervalued stocks. Next, use your own method to evaluate value of stocks. Although we have methodologies that I would be introducing in this subject, sinasabi niya, you have to trust your own gut feel. You have to trust your own mechanism on how you would evaluate the stocks you will be choosing in the future. But definitely, what he says, use your own method. Huwag kang maniniwala sa sinasabi ng marami. Kaya nga importante mag-aral ka para ma-discover mo yung sariling technique that works for you. And then, he said, buy stocks of companies which has simple products and services. Okay? Kaya nga hindi siya naniniwala sa cryptocurrencies actually kasi hindi niya maintindihan saan ba nagmumula yung value ng cryptocurrencies. Kasi siya, naniniwala siya sa value. If you know how things work, if you know the deepest and yung kumbaga kung bakit ba nag-ooperate, sino ba yung may kailangan nito, ano ba yung demand for this product, why is this firm existing in the first place. Kung naiintindihan mo yung bawat sulok ng operations ng company, then go for it. That's what he's trying to tell you, no? And then the next one is do not buy stocks what everyone else is buying. This is what happened in the GameStop stocks, which happened in January 2021. What they did is hinipe nila yung presyo ng stock na yon until it reached almost 200% increase. Ibig sabihin walang value doon. Hype lang siya for a while lang, and then after a while mawawala din. Kaya ang sinasabi niya, do not buy stocks of what everyone else is buying. Dun ka pa rin dun sa value investing. You go for fundamental investing na you research on the financial performance of the company. You research on the value that it can contribute to the community and to the society, that alam mo it will last for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Ano? So, wag ka lang hype beast besh, di ba? Dun ka sa pangmatagalan, parang motolite lang yan. And then the last two, avoid being a compulsive buyer and seller of stocks. Kasi when you say compulsive, agaran, di ba? Yung agad-agad. Naisipan mo lang, gagawin mo na. Yeah. So, don't do that. Kaya nga pinopromote niya talaga long-term investing. Ayaw niya ng trading. Kasi itong mga compulsive buyer, itong mga traders, di ba? Nagbe-benefit sila dun sa highs and lows ng market. And lastly, although he is a billionaire, hindi siya nagmay-ari ng mga sports car. He only has a modest car and a modest house. What he does is he donates most of his money to charity. So, hindi siya nagpakasasa sa pera. Ang ginamit niya ang pera niya for a good cause. So, what he said, live a very modest life. Always avoid lavish spending. Kaya nga, it boils down to the reason kung ba't kailangan mo bang mag-invest. If ang reason mo is to help boost the economy, is to help boost the performance of companies, doing a good job in the society, then go. Diba? Let's make investing a good intention. It's not just for money making, it's not just for greed, but for good intentions. To make our future brighter, to make the economy of our country brighter, and to encourage the future generation to start investing as well. And so that ends our discussion for this video. I hope you had fun as much as I did. And I'm looking forward to our future discussion about this in the future. Okay, thank you for finishing this video and have a nice day, everyone.